Maintaining a balanced equilibrium in both life and in business is the key to unlocking endless valleys of sustainability, growth, productivity, and success. Holly Jean Jackson has 12 years of business and technology experience. She's been using her expertise to help build unstoppable and profitable businesses throughout the course of her career. She's a success coach, business consultant, and speaker. And she joined me this week to discuss ways we can all prioritize our business priorities to maximize our return. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Holly, if you're ready, we'll welcome you to the program, and we're excited to talk all about business and entrepreneurship with you. I'm delighted to see you this afternoon, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Holly, I know you help business owners sort of get their groove back in business and entrepreneurship as your claim to fame. And I know that your work is of increased importance because of the pandemic. So I'll just start you off by asking you um, just how you came up with the slogan and a little bit about what you do to assist business owners.
Sure. Yeah. My tagline is health, clarity, and business. And that's because without health, you don't have the energy to create the business of your dreams or know your life priorities. Without clarity, you're typically building a business or a job or career that is not aligned with what you desire out of life. And then, of course, the business side is my bread and butter. And I love working with entrepreneurs and business owners on how to grow and scale their business to achieve their dreams.
And I know that you strongly believe in the notion of having a clear mind in terms of mentally and physically in order to run a successful business. So, can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the more clear your mind is and the more you know about your message, your ideal clients, and all of that information, the more you'll be able to vocalize and articulate through your marketing and attract the right clients. The more clearly you'll be able to push away the clients that are not a good fit for your business. Additionally, with clarity, you'll be building a business that strategically is going to support your life so that you're happy and satisfied and still passionate about the work that you're doing. And as we all know, for entrepreneurship and business ownership, it's a long game and it can be a lot of work. So you want to remain passionate and excited about that. And that starts with clarity and making sure it's aligned with what you're most passionate about.
And speaking of clarity, I think we can all use it in the age of coronavirus, since certainly running a business has become more challenging or compromising during this unprecedented time. So I'm just wondering if you can provide a roadmap of success on how to successfully operate a business during the age of coronavirus.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big question. So I'd say high level, the roadmap is start first with reanalyzing and reevaluating where you are in your life and business now that Corona and COVID is here and how that's impacted or shifted anything in your life. That's really important is to get clear, have your life priorities shifted, have your business goals shifted, how you're operating business, how has that changed? The next part is check in with your existing clients or potential clients and really listen to them. What are their current problems? What's keeping them up at night? What are they terrified of? What are the new problems in the market that potentially you have the skill set to solve for? And then from there, can you provide a solution or a service around those problems to your ideal client and market it to them and provide that online during COVID? And then, of course, there's learning technology for people that were not doing business online, knowing what business systems you need, how you can deliver an amazing customer experience online. But ultimately, those are the 4 steps of navigating and getting through COVID.
And can you just tell me, I'm curious to know, for anyone starting a new business, what would be your message or sort of direction to them, sort of navigating this time as well, if you're starting a new business?
I actually think this is a really great time to start a new business, especially to begin beta testing what works, to do your market research, because people right now are more willing than ever to get on the phone and have conversations that typically they wouldn't be available for. Everyone's craving connection. So if you have an idea for a business, it's a great time to start interviewing people that are in that potential client pool, asking them questions around the service or product you're going to provide, asking them what they think about it, asking for feedback. And then from there, if it's starting to look like there is a market and it is feasible, you could offer a beta service or solution. What that means is you're typically discounting the price of the actual value for that product or providing it for free in exchange for getting data, getting test solutions, and getting testimonials from those clients so that you can make a proof of concept to make sure that the business is actually viable. So that right now is an absolutely great time to do your market research and start beta testing your products and solutions to see if you have a viable idea for your business.
Now, how do you help clients sort of pivot when they're going down the wrong sort of path from a business perspective? And I know that you take pride in sort of having a diverse client base. So I'm curious on how you help to promote diversity and the importance of being nimble as a business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that I work with my clients on for diversity is you want to make sure that your business community and tribe is extremely diverse in so many different ways, because how you stay smart and relevant in your field is by having a diverse set of people that you're working with in your community. That could be diverse in technology, diverse in background, diverse culturally, because ultimately it's a global economy. So, you want to make sure that you have those connections, relationships, and experiences so that you stay relevant and you're able to actually quality communicate with your ideal clients. And like you said, I have a really diverse set of clients. I work with people across so many different industries, and it's really fun because it keeps the work interesting and relevant, and they have such amazing fresh ideas. Now, your other question around how do I help them when they're going down the wrong path? So this doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be industry specific. Typically, if they're taking all the right steps that we've covered for their roadmap for the next week or two, and they're not getting the results that we expect based on that action, that's how we know that there might be something else going on. It could be that their life priorities are out of alignment with what they're doing in the business. It could be that something in their life is dissatisfying them. Could be that life is out of balance and they need just some time to take a break or some time with family or for self-care. So that's where we take a step back and we do some deep inner work and look at some of their beliefs, some of what's going on in their personal life to see what's out of alignment that's causing that to show up in their business.
Now, personally, in my background, I help people with disabilities find work through entrepreneurship and just finding jobs themselves. So I'm always fascinated when I talk to business leaders and entrepreneurship experts like yourself on your thoughts on how we infuse more people with disabilities into entrepreneurship in the workforce, because I really believe that's an untapped market. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a little bit easier to some degree, sadly, to do this in the entrepreneurship space because you ultimately are your own boss and you're creating that, you're attracting the clients that you want to work with. And I think I've met several people that have disabilities and they're incredibly successful business owners and they just have that empowerment and that community of people supporting them to do that. I think it can be a little bit more difficult in the corporate world, sadly. I think that that's a space where it's more difficult. But I think that you just have to get really clear on what your superhero powers are in your field. And you just pitch that and you interview for that and you show them how gifted you are in that space. And that will open up so many opportunities on the corporate track as well.
And I know that you help business owners sort of end frustration and fear through technology. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about that and how you think technology will help advance the business community moving forward to now and into the future.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of people I work with have a lot of resistance to technology, and I totally understand that. It can be really scary and new, and it's anytime there's a transition, it's just uncomfortable. And so a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners that I work with, they have this resistance to using technology. So it's more about breaking it down and helping them reduce overwhelm and showing them, let's start with this one system that's a core system that you need foundationally for your business. The good part of it and how I convince them to do that is that when you use technology, it's actually simplifying your business and it's also creating a historical documentation of your business so that as you start to ramp up your team and have perhaps a virtual assistant or somebody you scale your team with, you have notes and you have a process that's documented through technology to quickly train them and get the most bang for your buck. Also, a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, they don't even use a CRM. So that means customer relationship management database. And if you're meeting hundreds of people a month, you're not going to retain all of that information in your mind. It's not possible. And so having copious notes in a system where you can quickly search, see how you met that person, your next steps, document to-dos with reminders. I can't tell you how many clients and entrepreneurs are leaving money on the table because they're forgetting to follow up and follow through with people that are interested in working with them. And frequently, the runway to a sale can be 6 months to 2 years, especially for bigger packages of coaching and consulting. So you want to make sure you're consistent. So showing business owners the value of technology and then breaking it down for them is a huge part of it.
I'm also fascinated to get your perspective on how do you think we can increase opportunities for women specifically in entrepreneurship so that they can take control of this sector and be leaders of now and tomorrow.
That is a great question. I actually recently had someone on my podcast, Inspiration Contagion. Her name is Anne Coquette, and she runs a community called The Guild and had just an amazing conference this week called Serendipity. And we were just talking about this topic and how such a small percentage of venture capitalist money is for women, and how such a small percentage of women in entrepreneurship is available. I think ultimately this comes from we need to do more mentorship of women. We need more communities like Anne has built to empower women. I would say 90% of my clients are women because I'm really all about having more women show up in the entrepreneurial space and the business ownership world, because I believe that the more women we have, especially moms, it's walking that talk for their children and showing their children that there's another route. They don't have to go necessarily work in corporate. They could create something themselves. I believe that so many people go the corporate track just because it's the societal standard and it's like typical in our culture and it's what you learn when you go to college. And I feel like people just aren't exposed enough to these other options in the world. So the more we can get in front of our children and younger women and mentor them on these possibilities, we're going to open that up a lot faster.
My final question for you is I'm wondering if you could peel back the onion a little bit on your personal life before we started our conversation. You indicated to me that you've got a busy weekend ahead, so I'm just wondering if you would be willing to share a couple of your passions with our audience when you're not in the business realm of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I have several passions. I'm a musician. I've been playing piano for over 30 years. So when I'm stressed out or I just want to unwind for the evening, I love playing classical piano at home. I am a huge avid outdoors person. So I love to road cycle. I love backpacking and hiking. And of course, doing that with friends when I can, not as much right now with COVID. And I love cooking. I like to cook my own meals and get super creative. And I could go on. There's a lot of other things I love to do, but those are probably the top four.
Fantastic, Holly. I'm wondering if people want to get involved or contacted you, how do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So my website is www.hollyjeanjackson.com. And my podcast is Inspiration Contagion. And that's available on any of the major podcast tools.
Fantastic, Holly. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed our discussion this afternoon about entrepreneurship, its future and present. I want to thank you for your time. It was delightful to be with you, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Those were excellent questions. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic.